thank you. Navigating learning worlds, that's the paper that this will be based on. Done by me, Dave, who's sitting there not talking. I think I realized the reason why you're not talking. There has been at least 4 Davids on the stage today, so too many. That's probably the reason that it's me. And then Jonathan from Dunedin is one of the writers of the paper. What we will do in the next half an hour, 25 minutes, plus question, it's those. So the various ways that teachers and learners can navigate different learning worlds with the support of digital tools. And we're going to look at how place, navigation, movement are recognized as important concepts in situated cognition and mobilities research. Similar things that many actually have been talking about today on the previous months. And the nature of pedagogy in technology redefined activities that involve senses of both place and navigation. That's it in short. And I thought I'll introduce myself with one of the tools that I'm going to talk about. Not sure, have you used that? Does anyone recognize what the tool is? Have you used that? Sorry, done by Microsoft? No. Yeah, it uses Google Maps, kind of. It uses Google Earth. It's the storytelling. Sorry? Is it going? No. Oh, it's in beta phase. I'll show the link to that, and I'll actually. So it's called Tour Builder by Google. Anyone use that? Just the 2 that work for the Mind Lab, or was there another hand maybe possible? All right, so something new. Whew, I'm relieved, since I thought that all the buzz bingo words have already used today. So many have been talking about navigation and real world and all that, so something good. So my journey so far. I'll go to that screen so that I can share that. There. Ko Milla, toku ingoa, no fiinarana ahau. And that was the forest where I played as a child with my imaginary horses, which, if anyone has been looking at the news in New Zealand Herald lately, is a thing in Finland. It's officially a thing. They are organizing competition, and that's the exact forest that I was kind of actually, after like remembering that as an adult, I kind of thought that actually, did I have the horse? It felt so real that, yeah, still when I look at that, it looks just real, and I can see the horses there. And of course I can make, since it is the tour builder, I can make it a bit more dramatic with Sibelius. That's Finland. And that's one of the most known composers from Finland. And the piece is called Finlandia. And it does get quite cold in the winter time. That's probably the biggest difference between Finland and New Zealand. Otherwise they are quite the same size, similar population and so on. I'll take my journey a bit further from there. Ko ylläs te Maungo. Not that easy to find a mountain from Finland since it's flat. That is the difference between New Zealand and Finland. But that we went there once a year to ski, and that's in northern Finland, in Lapland, where the indigenous people, Sami people, live. And the city that I'm from is next to Tuusulanjärvi, so Ko Tuusulanjärvi Teroto. Lakes are easy to find. There's 200,000 lakes in Finland. And surprisingly, the name of the city that I'm from is called, if you translate that, it means the end of the lake. The one that I was born is the Tried Lake. And so on. It's heaps of lakes. And I went to study in the University of Eastern Finland. I studied to become a teacher. So that's my where I studied my master's, and that's the Lake District. So there's a specific district which is called, since there's even more lakes than usual in that part of it. And it has the loveliest view from the university, the best view of all the universities in Finland. Not that I'm biased or anything. And what I did after working as a teacher for a few years, I worked in a company called Innofactor. That would be the Finnish pronunciation of a IT company, which nowadays has that campus over there. Of course, it's next to the water. Companies like Rovio next to that. Do you happen to know what that one is? Did I hear? No. Angry Birds, yes, it's Finnish. Yes, thank you, Dave. I'll pay you later. Also, there was for example, Microsoft was there, and the Nokia was there. That was the main place, but that was a sad day when they swapped out to be a Microsoft building. But of course, well, I worked with Microsoft a lot at that point. We, for example, developed that tool which was self-assessing the 21st century skills for teachers and students. That was the last thing I did before I moved all the way to the other side of the world. And I couldn't resist to be part of the Mind Lab, which then started from that building, and now we have over 20 locations around New Zealand. So ko waka rererangi, te waka, so with airplane, I came here. Ko Unitex te noho ko tahitanga toku marae. And I feel like home when I'm in that marae. For some reason, New Zealand feels like home. Partly, probably because of the reason the Mind Lab exists. It's just it's still the best occupation in the world to be teaching teachers, to help them to upskill to the 21st century. And we started by teaching kids in that lab. Has anyone been at the Mind Lab? No? Oh, no? Oh, just you can go and visit. We also teach kids robotics, coding, all the things that I've been hearing you talking about. We also teach those things to kids, but then we realized that we want to upskill teachers and have even a bigger impact around this lovely country. But that's it. Ko Milla toku ingoa, and out of all of the places in New Zealand, lovely places, where do I live nowadays? In Hamilton. That's where I end my presentation. People say that it's a pity that it's everybody jokes about Hamilton, the city of the future and bogans. I actually just 2 weeks ago, I made a joke about that in South Island. There was a Finnish girl who was serving me in a restaurant, and I said that I live in Hamilton, and I made a joke that it's kind of like Kerava of New Zealand, which is the country that we joke about in Finland. And where was she from? I'm not going to use that joke again, but it's lovely to learn to know someone from Kerava now also living in New Zealand. But Hamilton is a lovely city of the future. And we do have a Mind Lab there, and I teach there, and Rotorua both have lakes. Probably that's why I feel like home. But that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about today. So Google Tool Builder, one of the tools we'll look at. So what did we do with the paper? In the paper we talk about learning worlds, and traditionally, even actually earlier today, someone was saying that what about when the students go to the real world? Like those two would be a different thing, the real world and the classroom. More recently, it's more enhanced, and then the place that we might call more real, for example, that forest, we can actually bring the forest into the classroom and be somewhere else than just in the classroom. Like you were now, while you were hopefully in that forest riding a horse. The place of learning is no longer in a single container, but comprises, there's multiple experiences combined. And what did we do for this one? So we wrote the paper for this particular THETA conference. Our students are in-service teachers. They are all working as teachers, early, primary, secondary, university, I love it when I get to teach the teachers that are teaching teachers. That's a high point. Librarians also, not just teachers and so on. And what we wanted to focus on, we kind of left many things that we do with the teachers, which have been mentioned today, augmented reality, we left that out. We didn't talk about the 3D printer, even if you won one today. Congratulations about that. We focused on outdoor environments, mixed reality, and recollected or imagined journeys. Those are the ones that we analyzed. That was the research context for this part. And how we talk about that with the students, not sure if you are familiar with that continuum. Somehow it easily kind of explains for our students that could be that the real environment has something augmented digital in it, or that the other side would be fully virtual, which might have some real components in it. And the whole part of in the middle and all of that would be mixed called. So I always say if you want to sound really good and not just talk about augmented reality or virtual, call it mixed. And then no one can't say that you're talking about something real. Pedagogical issues, we wanted to look at that if place is important for us experience or our experiences, then how do pedagogically we could consider the place in digital learning activities. The ones that we do, and especially the ones that our students think that they can do with the softwares that we introduce them to. How important is that these activities can be acted in real places? And does it help to innovate when there are those places involved? The method was that we looked at Google Plus communities. So there were 750 students part of those communities that we looked at, and we identified 37 posts. It wasn't that much, but we wanted to find just exactly the ones that talked about place, navigation, and analyze those answers. And as mentioned, those are the three things that we looked at: outdoor navigation using location-based tool, virtual navigation in immersive online spaces, and augmented map-based navigations. And the tools that they talked about were action-bound, Google Expeditions, and the tool builder that you just saw. So I'll show the results relating to those three. Action-bound, is there anyone who's used that one? Action-bound, no, it's a really, after this too, yes. It's a cool one, easy one to use, and our students loved it. It kind of has gamification elements in it. Examples where they wanted to put that in action, the ones that don't even know what to click and don't even know that their phone is a smartphone, and they teach 6-year-olds, even they found all these ideas. Where could they put that into action? Helping navigating in different new places, for example, the first day at school, buying food from a specific locations, navigating, having culture walk, the Hauora model explained, linking up with others in cafes, finding people, and it was really much relating to the real places. And of course, when we did that, this is one of the times we did that over there. Who was it earlier today who said that always when you're navigating and there's GPS, of course it rains? Like, yes, like tomorrow, where unfortunately it looks like it's going to rain when you're doing something similar. Of course it did, and that is taken when it was what was the name of the cyclone? Debbie was the first one. So that was Debbie evening that we were supposed to go out. We didn't. So the scavenger hunt is actually there behind the books in the library. What we did with all of these ones, when we introduced these to the students, we didn't tell them how to use those. It's actually self-explaining. Most of the softwares are so easy to use that if you just use it, you'll learn it. That's why I don't have to explain to you how action-bound works. You'll just download that and do your own first bound. The Google Tool Builder, the one that I used in the beginning, that seemed to be the most commonly chosen one. So people really wanted to use that and saw heaps of opportunities to sharing stories for tourists, especially in Rotorua. That was a big thing there. Rio Olympics came out. Interestingly also, one of them explaining more not just that which countries are represented, but where do people actually go and train for different things for the Olympics. Introducing yourself, as I did, amazing race, where have earthquakes happened, what has it caused. Some wanted to show all the issues relating to Auckland traffic things, which definitely was an interesting one. Sharing different journeys from books. And someone said today and showed the data that students use Pokemon Go, but not for educational setting. Yes, they do. That was an education setting. It's possible. Pokemon Go, that one meant that which Pokemons, or where the ones that are, for example, close to water, what are those, and what plants and so on can you find from those areas and so on. It was an interesting idea relating to Pokemon Go and biomes. And Google Expeditions, the one which some of you have been talking about today already, Google Cardboard. A cheap one and a completely new one for most of the teachers around New Zealand. That's when they really felt that it felt real. So real that they were trying to walk around, and they really did, and forgot that they actually not walking. I'll show you actually one video from that. You'll see at the same time what do our students look like. There's few. Some haven't worked as teachers for a long time, and some have. Google Expeditions means that that's one of the students' teachers showing the way, what to do and what to find.
Oh, another one.
So that's, the lesson takes you on
It's quite new, it takes time. Yes. Feels real.
We're at the Tuskegee Airmen, officially known as the 332nd Fighter Group and the 477th Bombardment Group, United States Army Air Forces, the Tuskegee Airmen. We're a group of African American pilots and support personnel who fought during World War II.
I'm trying to go down those steps.
There they are. There's a picture of them.
Oh, there's Tony. Oh! Got very close.
Another image.
Where's that other image? I've got following the arrows. Ooh.
They were in Tuscany, even if they were in Hamilton Mairoa Intermediate School at that point. So what did we find from all of these when we analyzed and looked at what did the students discuss? Show you the results. If I can, where's my mouse virtual one? Ah, no, that one goes into this way. Yes, there it is. There. Data analysis. 3 continuums, those are the main things that we found. Physical accessibility and learning spaces, the extent of world knowledge, which actually relates to that first continuum that I showed, and then script and counter-script one. So what did we find were these, the results in 3 continuums. Physical accessibility, the ones that the locations are visited physically, easily, where they could be potentially visited, or the ones that are actually really hard to physically visit, hostile environments, or some that we went to, like, for example, look at a human lung, which is a bit harder to do. But that seemed to be, for example, like for teachers, actually a good learning experience, and realizing that the lungs are really different size and so on. They still remember that. So that's one of them. The other one is the extent of world knowledge. Was it just sharing existing knowledge, or deeper learning on top of something else, or learning completely new knowledge? Entirely new learning worlds, like for some actually feeling the lungs, they felt like, oh, for the first time I understand how does it work, even the teachers, the 50-year-old teachers. Or was it just sharing something that they actually had, like me sharing my story, which might have been might have been in your viewpoint in a different place in that continuum. The scripts and counterscripts, which kind of relates also to many of the things that we've been talking today. Are students just the consumers of these things, or are they actually ones taking, for example, the 360 pictures and putting them somewhere? Are they the ones creating the content? Is it top-down from teachers to student, or the other way around even possibly? Some use the introductions for that, so that it's actually teacher knowing their students after that better. Hopefully more and more here. Of course, when you look at those 3 softwares that we looked at, it's kind of easy to see that Google Expeditions, which are ready-made content, it's more so that it's not even teacher, it's someone else who has made that content. Then there's the ones that are in the middle, maybe for example, the Action Bound. And then, or actually, Action Bound, I'd say that those actually both go here, don't they? But you can use them any way you want. Interestingly, teachers, they kind of start from old-fashioned and they do the top-down, even if the action itself or the activity itself that they are doing is that we put them to do that. We don't do and say that do this tour and experience, for example, Action Bound. Even if we don't do the top-down, they tend to do that before they realize that they should maybe do it the other way around. Thanks to this analysis, next time around I'm teaching teachers, I'll actually show these so that they realize maybe that even beforehand. So helped, hopefully, us to teach teachers better too. The conclusions: learning can be enacted in a real place, even if you are not there. Activities often took place in a familiar places. That's the teachers tend to choose those, and they kind of think those are the important ones. The students, ones that they shared in the Google Plus community. The digital component was always essential, even if they are always start like, I'm not going to use that if I don't need to, but they realize the opportunities in those. And the learning was greatly enhanced with these things. Some of the softwares, they more said that it's exciting and they don't know where it's going, like the Google Cardboard, but some of those they started to use immediately next week in class, and those are the things that we analyzed. And that's it, in short, my message today about those three tools. Come and visit us, either physically or online, either or, any of that continuum. We are around New Zealand. Sometimes we are using schools as facilities. And if you know some teacher that should do the program anywhere in New Zealand, go and push them towards signing up so that we have new students in July once again. Our goal is to teach at least 10,000 teachers in New Zealand through our program, which I thought is a crazy goal. When I moved here, and I thought like, a few hundred, but actually we're now already over 2,000. So it is possible. We'll get there. Thank you. Thank you.